Our trip to Italy was supposed to be the vacation of a lifetime. 3 weeks of romance, pasta, and sun-drenched piazzas. My husband David and I had been saving for years, planning every detail, dreaming of the perfect escape. David's parents offered to watch our lake house while we were gone, a generous gesture, we thought. They'd host a small family reunion, enjoy the property, and make sure everything was safe. We handed over the keys with gratitude and flew off to Europe. When we returned, the house was gone.
Sold.
To strangers. By my in-laws. The keys didn't work. The sold sign was in the yard. Let me rewind. My name is Maya. I'm 38, a marketing director, and I married David 10 years ago. His family, his parents, Richard and Linda, and his sister, Jenna, were always complicated. They were warm and welcoming when it suited them, but there was always an undercurrent of entitlement, a sense that David's success was somehow theirs to share. The lake house was our pride and joy. A small cottage on a beautiful lake, 3 hours from the city. We'd bought it 5 years ago, renovated it ourselves, filled it with memories. It was our sanctuary, our escape, our retirement dream. David's parents had always loved it. They'd visit occasionally, always with compliments, always with hints about how nice it would be to use it more often. We were generous. We let them stay whenever we weren't there. No questions asked. Family, right? When we planned the Italy trip, they offered to house sit. They'd host a small family reunion, enjoy the lake, and make sure everything was fine. It seemed perfect. We handed over the keys, hugged goodbye, and flew off. Italy was everything we'd dreamed. The food, the art, the romance. We called home occasionally, checking in. Everything was fine, they said. The reunion was lovely. The house was great. We came home on a Sunday. Jet-lagged, happy, full of memories. We drove straight to the lake house. We wanted to see it before heading to our city apartment. But when we turned onto our road, something felt wrong. There was a sign in the yard. A real estate sign. Sold. I stared at it, confused. David, what is that? He shook his head, equally bewildered. I don't know. Maybe a neighbor's house. But it was our house. Our address. Our sanctuary. We pulled into the driveway. The key didn't work. The lock had been changed. Through the window, we could see strangers' furniture, strangers' lives, strangers living in our home. I called David's mother immediately. She answered cheerfully, as if nothing was wrong. Maya, how was Italy? Linda, where are we supposed to go? Our key doesn't work. There's a sold sign in the yard. Silence. Then, oh, honey, I was going to call you. We sold the house. The words didn't make sense. Couldn't make sense. You sold our house? Our house?
How?
Why? We needed the money, sweetie. Your father-in-law's business is in trouble. We thought you'd understand. Family helps family. I felt the world tilt. David grabbed the phone, his voice shaking with rage. Mom, what did you do? That's our house. You can't just sell it. We had the deed, David. You left it in the safe. We had a lawyer draw up the papers. It's done. The money is already in our account. I sank to the ground, the phone dropping from my hand. Our home. Our sanctuary. Our future.
Gone.
The next few hours were a blur of calls, lawyers, and disbelief. The sale was real. Richard and Linda had forged our signatures, used a notary who was a family friend, and transferred the title to themselves. Then they'd sold it to a young couple who'd paid cash, none the wiser. The money, $450,000, was already in their account. Spent mostly. On debts, on a new car, on living expenses. We were homeless, houseless, and our family had done it to us. Within weeks, they'd filed a lawsuit against Richard and Linda for fraud, forgery, and conversion of property. The lawsuit demanded repayment of the full $450,000 plus damages, plus legal fees. But Richard and Linda had no money left to repay. They'd spent it, hidden it, given it away. The lawsuit was a hollow victory, a judgment we'd never collect. Or so we thought. Because when the insurance company's forensic accountants started digging, they found something Richard and Linda hadn't counted on, a paper trail leading straight to Jenna. Jenna, David's sister, had always been the favorite child. The one who could do no wrong, the one who got whatever she wanted. Richard and Linda had given her money over the years for school, for weddings, for emergencies. But after they sold our house, the transfers became larger, more frequent. $50,000 here, $75,000 there. All traceable, all documented. The insurance company's lawyers added Jenna to the lawsuit. They argued that she'd knowingly received stolen funds, that she was complicit in the fraud, that she owed restitution just like her parents. Jenna's response was predictable: outrage, denial, victimhood. She claimed she had no idea where the money came from. She said her parents had told her it was an inheritance, a gift, a windfall. She blamed us for dragging her into this and destroying the family. David was devastated. His sister, his parents, all of them, united against us, lying to protect themselves. The depositions were brutal. Richard and Linda stonewalled, pleaded the fifth, claimed memory loss. Jenna cried on the stand, playing the victim, insisting she'd done nothing wrong. But the evidence was overwhelming. The transfers, the timing, the amounts, all of it pointed to a coordinated scheme to defraud us and hide the proceeds. The judge, a woman named Morrison with a reputation for no-nonsense rulings, had seen enough. She ruled against Richard, Linda, and Jenna, ordering them to repay the full $450,000 plus damages. But again, the money was gone. The judgment was uncollectible. Or so we thought. The insurance company, having paid us, now owned the judgment. They had the resources and the motivation to pursue Richard, Linda, and Jenna for years. They could garnish wages, seize assets, attach liens to property. It wouldn't bring our house back, but it would make their lives a living hell. David and I, meanwhile, had to rebuild. We used the insurance money to buy a new place, smaller, farther from the city, but ours. We started over, slowly, painfully. The trust was gone, not just in his family, but in the idea of family itself. Months passed. We heard through mutual friends that Richard and Linda had declared bankruptcy. Jenna had moved to another state, changed her name, tried to disappear. The insurance company was still pursuing them, still garnishing whatever they could find. It was a slow, grinding justice, but it was justice. Then one day we got a letter. Handwritten, from Jenna. She was begging for forgiveness, claiming she'd been manipulated by her parents, saying she wanted to make things right. David read it, his face expressionless. Then he tore it in half and threw it in the trash. "Some things can't be forgiven," he said. I agreed. "So, what happens when the family tries to reconcile? Do we give them a chance? Or do we stay away forever?" Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Part 3 is about the aftermath and the choice that defines us.
Subscribe.
The year that followed was the hardest of our lives. We bought a new house, a smaller one, in a different town, far from the lake and the memories. We went through the motions of daily life, work, chores, conversations, but everything felt hollow. The betrayal had broken something in both of us. David stopped talking to his family entirely. I stopped trusting anyone new. We were together, but alone, isolated by the weight of what had happened. Then, on the anniversary of the sale, we got an unexpected visitor. David's mother, Linda, showed up at our door, looking older and more broken than I'd ever seen her. I opened the door to find Linda standing on our porch, tears streaming down her face. She looked terrible, thin, haggard, aged beyond her years. "Maya, please. I need to talk to you and David." David appeared behind me, his face hardening when he saw her. "You have no right to be here." I know, but please, just hear me out." Against my better judgment, I let her in. We sat in our living room, the tension thick enough to cut. Linda couldn't stop crying. "I'm not here to ask for forgiveness," she began. "I know we don't deserve it. I'm here to tell you the truth. The whole truth." She told us about Richard's business, how it had been failing for years, how they'd hidden it from everyone, how they'd borrowed money from dangerous people to keep it afloat. The sale of our house wasn't just greed, it was desperation. They'd been threatened, she said, by loan sharks, by creditors, by people who didn't care about excuses. I'm not saying it was right, she sobbed. It was terrible, unforgivable, but we didn't know what else to do. We were scared. David's face was stone. You were scared, so you stole from us? Your own son. We thought you'd understand. We thought you'd forgive us. We thought. You thought wrong. Linda nodded, accepting his words. I know. I know now. Richard is in the hospital.
He had a heart attack last week.
The stress, the guilt, everything. He's not doing well. I felt a flicker of something, not pity, but recognition. This family was destroying itself, and we were caught in the wreckage. What do you want from us? David asked. Nothing.
I don't want anything.
I needed you to know, to understand, to maybe, someday, find a way to forgive us. Not for us, for yourselves. So you can move on. She left after that. David closed the door and stood there, his back to me, his shoulders shaking with silent sobs.
I didn't know what to say.
So I just held him. Richard died 2 weeks later. The funeral was small, just Linda, Jenna, and a few friends. David didn't go. I didn't go. We sent flowers, a gesture of respect for the dead, not forgiveness for the living. The family fractured further. Jenna, still bitter, blamed us for Richard's death. Linda, consumed by grief, retreated into silence. The cousins, aunts, uncles, all chose sides, sent messages, made their positions clear. We were the villains in their story, the ones who'd destroyed the family over money. I stopped caring. The opinions of people who didn't know the truth meant nothing to me. David and I had each other. That was enough. But the weight of it all was crushing. We started seeing a therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Reyes, who helped us process the grief, the anger, the betrayal. Slowly, painfully, we began to heal. Then one day, we got a call from a lawyer. Linda had died. Cancer, fast and unexpected. And in her will, she'd left us something. So what did Linda leave us? And what does it mean for the future? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Part 4 is about the inheritance and the final twist.
Subscribe.
The lawyer's office was the same one where we'd signed the papers for our lake house years ago. Sitting in that waiting room brought back a flood of memories. The excitement, the hope, the dreams we'd built. Now we were here for a different reason. Linda had died, and she'd left us something in her will. I didn't want anything from her. David didn't either. But the lawyer had been insistent. It's not money, she'd said on the phone. It's something else. Something she wanted you to have. Curiosity, against our better judgment, brought us here. The lawyer, a tired-looking man named Mr. Every nail, every beam, every decision was a reminder of what we'd lost and what we were trying to create. But slowly, painfully, the new cottage took shape. The day we moved in, we stood on the porch, looking out at the lake. It was the same water, the same view, but everything else was different. We were different. I still don't forgive her, David said quietly. I don't think I ever will. Maybe you don't have to. Maybe just holding on to the good parts is enough. He nodded, slipping his arm around me. Maybe. So, what happens next? Do we find peace on this new land? And what about Jenna, still out there, still bitter? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. The final part is about healing, closure, and the future we build together.
Subscribe.
The new cottage took 2 years to build. We did much of the work ourselves, hammering nails, painting walls, planting gardens. It was therapeutic, exhausting, and exactly what we needed. Every board we cut, every window we installed, was a small act of reclaiming what had been stolen from us. The lake was the same, beautiful, peaceful, eternal. But we were different, stronger, more careful with our trust. When the cottage was finally finished, we stood on the porch and looked out at the water. It's not the same, David said.
No.
But it's ours. The first summer in the new cottage was magical. We swam, fished, sat by bonfires. We invited friends, made new memories, slowly filled the space with love. The pain of the betrayal didn't disappear, but it faded, became background noise instead of the main event. Then one day we got a letter. Jenna. She'd found our address somehow, probably through mutual friends. The letter was short, handwritten, and surprisingly humble. David, I know you have no reason to read this. I know I've done unforgivable things. But I'm writing to tell you that I'm sorry. Not for the lawsuit, not for the money, for everything. For choosing them over you. For not standing up when I should have. For letting you carry the weight alone. I've been in therapy for 2 years. I'm trying to understand how I became someone who could hurt their own brother. It's slow, painful work. But I'm doing it. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. I see what I did. And I'm sorry. Jenna. I watched David read it, his face unreadable. When he finished, he folded it carefully and put it in a drawer. Are you going to respond?
I asked.
I don't know. Maybe someday. Not today. I understood. Forgiveness, if it came at all, would take time. Years passed. The cottage became our sanctuary, our refuge from the world. We spent every summer there, every holiday, every moment we could steal from our busy lives. The lake house we'd lost was a memory, but this new place, this place we'd built with our own hands, was something different. Something better. Jenna wrote again, years later. A longer letter this time, full of details about her life, her recovery, her new job, her attempts to make amends with others she'd hurt. She didn't ask for anything. Just shared. David wrote back. A short note, careful but not cold. Jenna, I read your letters. I'm glad you're doing better. I'm glad you're getting help. I'm not ready to see you, and I don't know if I ever will be. But I want you to know that I don't wish you ill. I hope you find peace. David. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was a start. The micro niche here isn't just real estate fraud or family betrayal. It's about the long, painful work of rebuilding after everything falls apart. It's about learning that some wounds never fully heal, but they can become scars, reminders of what we've survived, not what defines us. It's about a lake that witnessed both our greatest loss and our greatest recovery. Have you ever been betrayed by family in an unforgivable way? Did you find a way to heal, or did you have to walk away forever? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's talk about the boundaries we set, the love we protect, and the strength it takes to start over. And if this story of stolen homes, broken trusts, and hard-won peace resonated with you, share it. Sometimes, the most important thing we can build isn't a house, it's a life. Thanks for listening.